like to thank Alex for bringing a new demographic to the sport. I really appreciate it. I think it's great. I know sometimes it's tough when you're playing against a home crowd, but I think that it's great for the sport. So keep being enthusiastic and keep rooting for your player. Yeah.
Hey everyone! We are working to hit 1,000 subscribers and I need your help to get there. If you enjoy the content and it is your first time here, please hit that subscribe button right now as we proceed. Subscribe to this channel right now, because the story we are about to tell you today goes so far beyond tennis scores and tournament brackets that it is going to completely change the way you look at women's tennis in 2025 and beyond. This is not just a story about a quarter-final result. This is not just a story about two talented players sharing a court. This is a story about friendship, mentorship, a changing of the guard in one of the most competitive sports on the planet, and one very powerful, very uncomfortable world number one who can see the writing on the wall and absolutely does not like what it says. Coco Gauff and Alex EALA are building something real, something rare, and something that has the potential to reshape the entire landscape of the WTA Tour for the next decade. And the beautiful, dramatic, utterly compelling part of it all is that it is happening right in front of our eyes in real time. So buckle up because this one goes deep. Let us start with the moment that set everything in motion, because context is everything here. When Coco Gauff walked off the court following her victory against Mertens in Dubai, the energy inside that stadium was electric in a way that had very little to do with the match itself and everything to do with who was making all that noise in the stands. Alex EALA's fan base, one of the most passionate, devoted, and loudly enthusiastic collections of supporters in the entire sport right now, had shown up in force. And they had not shown up quietly. They had shown up the way only truly committed fans can, channeling their energy into the arena with a volume and intensity that transformed the entire atmosphere of the match. These fans did not just attend. They performed. They cheered for Gauff like she was their own player, like every point she won was a personal victory, like the match outcome mattered to them on a deeply personal level. And the reason for that is straightforward and genuinely beautiful. Their love for Alex EALA has expanded into a broader appreciation for the kind of tennis, the kind of competitor, and the kind of human being that Coco Gauff represents. Gauff recognized it immediately. She stepped forward, looked into that crowd, and thanked the EALA fans directly and sincerely. But here is the part that elevated that moment from a nice gesture into something genuinely significant. She did not just thank them for cheering. She went further. She stood there and acknowledged openly and without hesitation that the stardom surrounding Alex EALA is completely and totally real. Think about what that means coming from a Grand Slam champion. Think about the weight that carries when one of the most accomplished young athletes in the world looks at a rising star and says to the entire tennis world, "Yes, this person is the real thing." It is not a PR moment. It is not a calculated media move. It is one champion recognizing another champion in the making, and doing so publicly and generously at a moment when she had absolutely no obligation to share the spotlight with anyone. And then Alex EALA stepped in front of the microphones at her press conference and delivered the kind of statement that reminds you exactly why this young woman from the Philippines has captured the hearts of an entire nation and a global fan base that grows larger with every tournament she enters. She declared that there is no bigger opportunity in her career right now than the chance to face Coco Gauff on the court. She described it as a dream. She said that facing a player of Gauff's caliber is something an athlete would do anything to experience. And she said all of it with a fearlessness and a clarity that stopped everyone in that press room cold. This is not a player who is intimidated by the biggest stage. This is not a young talent who is happy just to be invited to the party. This is a competitor who sees the mountain, identifies the hardest possible path to the top, and runs directly toward it with a smile on her face. That mentality, that fearless, forward-leaning, challenge-hungry mentality, is what separates genuinely great players from players who are merely very good. And EALA has it in abundance. Now let us talk about what has been quietly building between these two players off the court, because the connection between Gauff and EALA goes so much deeper than shared tournaments and mutual fan bases. When both players were competing at the Australian Open, something remarkable happened in practice. Gauff positioned herself not just as a fellow competitor but as a mentor, a teacher, and a genuine ally in EALA's development. She was right there alongside the young Filipino star, breaking down the technical details of the serve, one of the most complex and consequential mechanics in all of tennis, sharing the kind of insights that only come from years of competing against and beating the best players in the world week after week. She was walking EALA through the nuances, the small adjustments, the tiny details of grip and toss and weight transfer that separate a functional serve from a genuinely dangerous weapon. And EALA was not passively absorbing it. She was asking questions. She was experimenting in real time. She was applying feedback immediately and visibly, and the results were there for anyone paying attention to see. Her serve improved measurably over the course of those sessions in a way that normally takes months of dedicated work to achieve. She compressed that timeline because she had the right teacher and the right mindset to accelerate her own growth at a pace that left observers genuinely stunned. What makes their dynamic so compelling from a tennis perspective is the beautiful contrast in what each player brings to the table. Gauff represents the fully formed power game, the Grand Slam titles, the mental toughness built from countless high-pressure moments on the biggest courts in the world, the tactical sophistication that comes from learning through experience what actually works when everything is on the line. She has been tested at the absolute highest level, and she has come through. She knows what it feels like to be broken and to rebuild, and that knowledge is invaluable. EALA brings something entirely different but equally powerful. She brings freshness and hunger and an infectious joy for competing that is genuinely rare to encounter in professional sports. She brings the willingness to learn without ego, to absorb feedback without defensiveness, to take the hard lessons and immediately apply them. When those two energies combine, something genuinely extraordinary happens. You get a partnership where both players are simultaneously teaching and learning, pushing and pulling, elevating each other in ways that make both of them better than they would be alone. And the authenticity of it is unmistakable. When you watch Gauff and EALA together, between drills, in press conferences, on the court during warm-ups, you see two young women who actually enjoy each other's company. This is real friendship. This is genuine warmth. And in the context of professional tennis, a sport that can be isolating and brutally individual in its demands, that kind of connection is genuinely rare and genuinely precious. But of course, no great story is complete without a villain, or at least without someone whose discomfort with the changing landscape adds a layer of dramatic tension that makes everything more interesting. And that someone, if the signals are anywhere near as clear as they appear to be, is Aryna Sabalenka. The world number one has built her entire identity around dominance, around crushing the competition, around being the immovable object at the top of the sport. And for a significant period of time, that approach worked magnificently. But the landscape is shifting, and Sabalenka can feel it. Gauff is not just competing with her anymore. Gauff is building, connecting, mentoring, and accumulating the kind of goodwill and community that extends far beyond individual match results. Players like EALA are emerging with hunger and talent and fan bases that fill stadiums and change atmospheres. The grip that Sabalenka has enjoyed at the very top of the sport is being challenged from multiple directions simultaneously, and the dynamic that is forming between Gauff and EALA represents something she cannot simply overpower with a better backhand or a heavier serve. You cannot ace your way out of a cultural shift. You cannot break-serve your way through a changing of the guard. And the changing of the guard in women's tennis is happening right now whether anyone is ready for it or not. What EALA has already achieved tells the full story of where her trajectory is headed. She defeated Jasmine Paolini in her most recent match, and let us be extremely clear about what that means. Paolini is not a soft draw. Paolini is a top-tier professional who competes at the absolute elite level of the sport. You do not beat players like her unless you are playing the best tennis of your career. And right now, at this specific and electric moment in time, Alex EALA is doing precisely that. She is playing the best tennis of her life, and she is closing the gap on the players ahead of her with a speed and confidence that is making the entire tour take notice. The combination of Gauff's championship pedigree and EALA's explosive upward momentum is creating something that the WTA has not seen in a very long time, a a partnership and eventual rivalry that promises to define the sport for years to come. This is not manufactured. This is not designed by marketing departments or orchestrated by management teams. This is two exceptional young women who found genuine connection in the middle of fierce competition and chose to lift each other up rather than tear each other down. That is rare. That is beautiful. And that is exactly the kind of story that makes sports worth watching. Now we want to hear everything from you. Are you part of the EALA army who cheered Gauff on in Dubai? Do you think this friendship and mentorship is going to accelerate EALA's rise to the very top of the sport? And where do you think Sabalaneka fits into this new landscape as the dynamic around her shifts and evolves? Drop your thoughts in the comments section right now because this conversation is just getting started. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and share this video with every tennis fan you know. And if you are not subscribed to this channel yet, join the family right now because we are covering every twist and turn of this incredible sport every single day. Do not miss what comes next, because with Gauff and EALA involved, it is only going to get better from here.